What is up guys, MKBHD here. I get asked a lot of tech questions, but the one that constantly comes up is what's your daily stuff and what's on your phone? And this tends to be something I regularly get asked, and even though I've done this video before, I didn't do this video over and over again because what's on my phone was mostly the same through school. But this is the first year where I'm not a full-time student, so my priorities have changed a little bit and the setup's a little different now, just a little bit. So let's do it. Now I do still have two SIM cards, both are AT&T. One of them is my primary SIM, which is the phone number everyone has, and the other is my secondary SIM. Nobody has that number, it's just for review phones. So when I'm reviewing a phone, I move all communications, except texting and calling, to the review phone. I still carry both phones, but now I take photos and observe battery life and do everything I can on the review phone. And if it's good enough, then it'll move up to become my main phone and it gets my main SIM. And repeat that process every time an interesting new smartphone comes out. The main SIM right now is in a Nexus 6P. The secondary SIM right now is in a Nextbit Robin, so you already know what that means. So this is my Nexus 6P. If you've seen any other What's on My Phone videos, it'll look familiar. I'll link to the skin I have on it below. Most metal phones really don't need a skin, but I like the way this one looks, so there you have it. And yes, the wallpaper I'm rocking will be linked right below that like button if you're looking for that too. And this is the setup. It's a pretty clean stock look, Google launcher, and honestly, the better these stock apps get, the less I have to rely on third-party stuff for extra functionality. Plus, I keep this setup pretty simple and clean since I have to be able to quickly set it up when I move to a new device. So up top on the main home screen, I have this widget with the forecast and the temperature. It's called Buzz Widget, and they have a whole launcher and a whole bunch more ways to customize stuff, but I just have this simple one here linking to a weather app because it's clean. So that just sits there looking pretty. And then below that, you have all the most used apps. So right off the bat, you probably have the two most frequent used, the music apps. So I have SoundCloud and Spotify. And I have public profiles for both, and I use both. I listen to a lot of music, a lot of playlists, all that sort of stuff. I also have G Tasks for Google Tasks and Google Keep. A lot of people ask, why do I have both? I use Tasks just for like my to-do list, so literally things I need to get accomplished by a certain time or day. And then Google Keep is more of like a notes app for lists, things to remember. There's also a folder of Google apps that I use most often, and then the YouTube Studio app, which I probably open like every day. I reply to comments, I check up on things, I use YouTube Studio all the time, the MyFitnessPal app, and Pocket, which is a link aggregator, sort of like a Pocket of saving links. So if I see something I want to come back to, I drop it in Pocket. And then of course at the bottom, you can't forget the dock with the most important stuff. So I have the phone, the messenger, the camera app of course, and I use Phoenix for Twitter. So that's my go-to Twitter app, and it kind of has been for a while. I know there's a couple others that are now, pretty similar to it, but in terms of functionality and simplicity, pretty much can't go wrong with Phoenix. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the main home screen. As you can see, it's familiar but functional. And then just to the right of that, I'm still rocking this full screen widget. So this widget is called the Today Calendar widget. It basically takes my Google Calendar and makes it scrollable and just this layout of all my calendar events for the day. And I use Google Calendar a lot, so I'm always swiping over here to make sure I know where I'm at for the day. And that's it. That's the whole two-screen setup for the way I keep my Android phone. Nothing too crazy. Of course, all the way over to the left of those home screens, there's Google Now and all my cards. I use Google Voice Search all the time from the home screen, but the cards are pretty useful too. Looks like Clippers beat the Spurs the other night, so that's pretty dope. And yeah, I feel like pretty much anyone can emulate this setup if they wanted to. Real quick, I'll hop over into my app drawer for some other apps that I don't have on my home screen. So not a billion apps or anything, as you can tell, but I do, let's see, I have Apple Music. I don't really use it that much, but I have it because, SoundCloud and Spotify are obviously really good. I got some pretty standard stuff in between. I do have the Yahoo Fantasy Sports app, currently dominating an NBA Fantasy League, if you were wondering, no big deal. Also, I do have a little bit of a Philips Hue setup going on in my office, as you probably already know. I've been considering checking out LifeX, which is a very similar thing after some recommendations of it, but I also saw a pretty baller-looking beta Hue app coming up soon, so I want to check that out before I switch up my hardware. There's also the NBA Game Time app. I have League Pass. I watch Clipper games. Go Clippers. Periscope. Do people still Periscope? I still Periscope sometimes. I feel like whenever I log on there's not a whole lot happening, but every once in a while I do a live show for whatever fun reason we come up with. Worth following there over on Periscope if you haven't already. I also have this app called Screener. So this is pretty cool. I'll show you actually. You can basically make really pretty looking home screen showcase images just by inserting it onto an image of the actual device. So you pick your device and then you go down into your gallery and you choose your screenshot, and then it'll drop that screenshot image nicely onto a clean, shareable image of your phone. I don't know, it's a lot prettier than just showing the screenshot, you know? Anyway, rounding it out, you have Relay Pro for Reddit, Snapchat. You should totally follow me on Snapchat. It's pretty much the only place I post behind the scenes and other random stuff that disappears within 24 hours. So Snapchat Story is where it's at. And then we have VSCO Cam when I'm feeling fancy, although Instagram's editing tools have been good enough for me 90% of the time. And then Zillow, since I'm looking for a new place, like constantly. And that's what's on my phone. There you go. Any suggestions or apps you feel I should know about, definitely let me know. Feel free to drop them in the comments section, and I'll have an eye out for those. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.